Good morning, you sexy bitches. It is Friday. Our first week of doing just 3 shows, and I hope that you're happy with the quality of what we're delivering for you, and I think it's only going to get better from here. Got some exciting news. We're redecorating, so this whole background you see here is going to change. It's not going to be here for long. Simpiwe is here. She's not going anywhere, though.
No,
And
you
for
can't
all
get
those-
rid of me.
Nah, for all those people who come just to see Simpiwe on a Friday, you're not going to be out of luck anytime soon. Ben will be joining us later on too. We'll check out some sport. Very exciting. It is a pre-recording, which I did the other day with David Walliams of
Ooh.
Little Britain, who's now a children's author. He's written a bunch of really cool books for kids. My 2 little nephews are so into it that they're like, oh, we know him. And when I was a kid, I remember reading Roald Dahl. And if I could have met Roald Dahl, I would have been like, most kids don't want to meet an author, right? But I'm pretty sure when Harry Potter first came out, every kid wanted to meet J.K. Rowling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yes, yes, and yes.
So when he comes to South Africa, I'm going to see if I can organize for them to meet him. It would be quite nice.
You
for
will be
them.
the coolest uncle
I will be the best uncle,
ever.
Right? Yeah,
Like-
his poor parents have to slog every day. They have to do everything right. If they say no, then the kids are like, oh, why not? But I just have to come in with that one cool thing. And then they're like, yay, we like him the
And
most.
you raise the bar now.
Yeah.
Because they're like, anything else below this?
Hey, listen, it's Mother's Day on Sunday.
Yes.
Speaking of raising the bar. Now, I don't know whether you're one of those people who gives a shit about Mother's Day. And you may know that it's just, some commercial crap that nobody cares about. Maybe that's how you feel about it. I don't know if it needs to be made more of a fuss of, but I'm not a mom. So maybe for moms who feel like they don't get enough love and appreciation through the year, and God knows we could always give more. Yeah, we could always give more.
Mhm.
It's your special day, Sunday. I tried to book. Oi, you want to hear some family drama?
Okay, let's hear it. Wait, let me get my cup ready.
So my brother, sipping tea. So my brother sends a message. He's always the more, he's the softer, gentler one, believe it or not, of all of us. He sends me and my sister a message on Monday. He's like, what are we going to do for mom? For mom's, Mother's Day. Now, he's also got a wife who's a mother, and he's got to worry about her as well. So I said, look, you don't worry. We'll take care of this one. And just make sure you're available on Sunday around this time. Cool. So I say to my sister, listen, here's the place that I think mom wants to go to. You book it. She goes, cool. Well, what a drama to get. First of all, everywhere's full, okay? Because now everybody's had this idea that they must take their mother for breakfast on Sunday. So you don't need to, but this is what happens. So no, she can get a booking at that place, but only for 4 of us, and they're actually going to be 6 of us plus the 2 kids. And anyway, so I say to her, look, and she's completely beside herself. I can't get this organized. And I'm like, there are people with real problems in the world, but okay, I'll take this over.
Okay.
So I take it over. I find another place. I book it. I say to them, all I do is on the family group, I just say 10:30 Sunday. This is where we're going.
Okay.
Lovely. So 2 days go by. That's what I'm thinking is the plan. Everybody else is aware of the plan. Then my dad calls me last night. He's like, listen, we've been thinking about it. And because now they're old, right? We don't want to go with all these people. And look, I don't mind this, but now I've booked. So we'll just do something here at our house, and you can all come here. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Because I'm not touchy about these things are sensitive. I'll
But
just
I
cancel it.
am. I'm getting upset.
No. So, of course, but now everyone has an opinion, right? So why are we doing something so boring? Is this fun? Now, who has to cook? Whatever. It's like my mother said yesterday, let's not even do this. So I'm like, no, we're going to do this. It's got nothing to do with you. You are not involved in the arrangements here at all. So I hope it all goes well. But you can just tell, like, these are the stupid things that happen in every family. There's always something, and it's mostly nonsense.
No, but it's not.
Oh.
Okay, let me tell you. Being the organizer of the group, right? Especially with my friendship groups, once I've taken on that role and I'm like, we are making plans, we're gonna hang out Sunday, 10:30. You can't change that. Once it's locked and it's I've done all the groundwork.
It's got a Simpiwe super lock on it.
It needs to happen. Any last minute changes of, can you rather just come to my house? No. Like, babes, you should have offered that in the beginning. Like, you should have said,
now
I don't want anything. We've all agreed. I've called people. I've made reservations. Yeah. Like, things have happened. I'm sorry, but the plan needs to continue.
I hear you. Listen, I'm one of those people too. Don't get me wrong. I'm also one of those people who likes to stick to an arrangement once it's been made. But, there are a lot of arguments. And by the way, while we're talking about Simpiwe as being the organizer, Simpiwe is also producer of the Shady podcast. And yesterday we launched... is it fair to say it's the biggest episode to date?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we launched...
she's currently trending.
Right. We launched an episode with Duduzile Zuma, who is, of course, Jacob Zuma's daughter and the twin sister of Duduzile. And it is getting lots of attention because she hasn't really spoken. She hasn't really done any interviews. She's obviously extremely influential in the MK party, which is potentially the third biggest party in the country, according to some people. So to find out what's going on with her, what her life is all about at the moment, her relationship with her dad, what she does in the party, you want to find out all of that stuff, you can go and check it out on the Real Network. Just look for the Shady podcast and you will see Duduzile Zuma.
Yes.
Very nice. And it was a great interview too. So well done there, Sims.
Thank you. Thank you. In the words of Waras, we have secured the unsecurable. And we shall continue to deliver on getting guests that a lot of people can't get.
Damn right. And interview them in a way that no one else can, right?
Oh, yes.
Apparently, there were a bunch of producers from all over the rest of the country and other shows desperately trying to get hold of Duduzile after our interview. So well done to Waris PH and to Simpiwe. Okay, we got lots of other good things coming up. Let's just do some housekeeping here quickly. Carl DeSantos, Gareth, we're going to have to talk about the terrible idea of removing the Burning Platform from the app. Someone should be fired for that decision. Well, as you know, the Burning Platform is part of what we used to do on a Thursday, and that is going to be a part of the lineup. It fits better there too, of the podcast party. So you just have to subscribe to both, and then you'll miss nothing. You can have whatever you like. Yeah, all you have to do is just subscribe to both. And that way you will get the best of all the worlds. And you can just decide, I want to listen to this, I don't want to listen to that, and so on all the way through. I'm not precious about it. There is some stuff that people come for on this show that they might not want on other platforms, that they might not get on other platforms. That's awesome. We're trying to be as forward-thinking as possible. And of course, as I mentioned, it's not just a look thing. We're doing some renovations here shortly. We're going to change this completely. You're going to see I'm going to have construction workers and interior decorators and all kinds of things happening here behind me. And that's all happening in the next while. But we're also changing some of the content. So we want your ideas and your suggestions here. What we are going to do is punish the producers of this show severely, because as you know, every time we have a technical issue, that earns them one swipe of the shambok.
Oh, can I bring the one I have at home?
You can. Have you got a shambok?
Yes.
So
it's in my mother's room.
You see, Simpiwe knows. There was always a shambok in our house too, right? Yes. Some people don't know what a shambok is. Like Leanne would say, "Oh, why is it made out of leather? Why does it never?"
Because it. I won't tell you why. Like, let's just.
No, you know why? Because this was the last resort, right? If just everyone's out of control. Shambok.
And that thing is long, so they don't need to be very close to you.
They can get you from And let me tell you, even if you're not using full force, that thing...
Just by the tip of it,
it leaves a mark. So, you know what? And we're not saying abusing people is a good idea, but I'm
discipline
all in favor.
Is important.
I'm in favor of discipline. And so, James, we're going to show you what a shambok is next week. Okay, we're going to have a proper debriefing, so to speak.
I'm for that.
Speaking of James, we have a song.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
We have a song. James has a producer song, which
did he produce it?
No, he didn't. I managed to get this done. All right.
Okay.
So you basically tell this AI what the story of this person is. Let me read you the lyrics quickly because that's quite important. And then you can figure it out from there. All right. But the cool thing about this is the AI did the creative stuff. Oh, James, you're the producer of our dreams, but every time you try, it all falls apart at the seams. You step on stage with confidence so grand, but behind the curtains, we see it's all unplanned. Every set design, just a little bit askew. You can't help us, James, no matter what you do. Your mistakes, they keep piling up high, but we'll keep smiling because it's all part of the lie.
That's a great song.
All right,
Needs
so
to be
that's
entered
just the first verse.
into Song of the Year.
So why don't we let people listen to this quickly? Go ahead and give this a play out and mute my microphone at the same time so I can play it for Simpiwe so she can hear it. All right.
James, you're the producer of our dreams, but every time you try, it all falls apart at the seams. You step on stage with confidence so grand, but behind the curtains we see it's all unplanned. Every set design just a little bit askew. You can't help us, James, no matter what you do. Your mistakes, they keep piling up high, but we'll keep smiling, 'cause it's all part of the lie. Oh, James, you're the master of disaster. Every show you touch, it ends in laughter. You mix up the scripts, the lines get confused, but we'll keep singing, 'cause this show must go on. It's true.
Mapelo says, how did you secure Selena Gomez for this song? But to me, it sounds a bit like a Taylor Swift song.
It really does. I
really
can tell
does,
you, you know
yeah.
what it's missing, because this is the era we're in when it comes to music. Just a bit of Amapiano, you know that?
Yeah.
Yebba, 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 yebba,
There we go.
James. Yebba,
All right.
yebba, yebba, yebba. Then we have a hit.
Okay, so I'll tell you what, we're going to hand it over to you.
Oh, okay.
And then Simpiwe is going to go and perfect it and
Yes.
refine it.
And then
make
we're
it
going to
even
have
better.
Song of the Year. And then here's the marketing thing. We're going to create a TikTok challenge. This is how the kids do it, okay? So we have a bang of a song. We're going to create a TikTok dance challenge where we have you doing something. I don't know what it is. The song's going to go viral. And
great.
before you know it, James is going to win a Grammy. You know, it is
Excellent.
possible.
Let's do it. I think that's a great idea. He's very excited about it because now his incompetence will be available to all. This is great. How fantastic. Well done, James. Very
Love
good.
it.
Very, very good. Okay, so I saw that South Africa came third in the World Robotics Championship.
Oh, wow.
How cool is that? Right?
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's very, very cool. South Africa came third. I think the first was Romania, then America.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, congratulations to, you know what, we always, because we make a big fuss of people who do sport and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
But actually, we should be making a big fuss of people who do things like this. So robotics. well done.
Halala, halala.
Very, very good.
Love it. No.
And you know, South Africa is just such a funny place on X, on Twitter, because people always have way too much to say about everything. I mean, I saw this morning, Raman, who's been on the show before, says, saw a black guy playing paddle this morning. Like it's a big thing, right? I've seen a lot of black people playing paddle. But if you wake up really early and you go past those courts,
Yeah.
it's busy.
I can
People wake up, they
officially
wake up
say
when it's dark to go and play paddle.
I'm one step closer to getting a paddle invite, guys. One step closer.
Well-
I haven't gotten it yet.
Well, you bring this up, but actually, Simpiwe has been very, very disciplined about going to gym.
Yes,
lately.
I'm all about being fit and
Right.
healthy, and
And now
you
she's
know.
buying all the equipment and stuff too.
yes, because at the gym I'm doing weights. You know, I'm trying to strength training. That's what I call, and like it's hurting my inner hand.
Oh, so you're getting calluses.
Yes, because so now I need the gloves.
You need the gym gloves.
And like also what I wear to the gym, because now my gym clothes are getting a bit loose and I'm like, ugh, I need to look a bit even more snatched. As Instant Pure style, gym donations are open, guys. Like you want to get me, because gym gear is very expensive.
Oh, so now you're going to put that. Okay, another thing that you may not know.
It's very expensive.
Okay, so Simpiwe just asks for people to like fulfill her wildest dreams, and people do. She has like wish lists on pretty much every app that there is.
Yes.
And then she expects you to buy her gym gloves. But there's going to be someone who's in love with you who will.
I mean, can you not see the vision of us being healthy together and just living our best life in health, in strength, and this time around, I'm not asking for tires. I'm asking for like gym gloves and like gym gear. Come on. That is, I think in terms of my expenses, we are definitely speaking to the people who are living within Cyril's economy. Like, let's not do tires, but we can do gym gloves, gym gear, gym equipment. It's not that bad.
Well, one of the other tweets that I see this morning that's quite good that hasn't got to do with paddle is from Warris, who has retweeted someone who's advertising a 170 million rand house in Camps Bay, Clifton, one of those places. So it's on the Atlantic seaboard. And Warris says, I have seen many whores advertising this property. Now, without saying what everyone's thinking, and he just does, there seems to be a large overlap between, let's just say, a lot of really attractive women wearing skimpy outfits and real estate.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be a lot of this, which Ben would love to talk about, and we'll get to it maybe later, because he has brought this up before.
Yes, he has.
About like, there's these shows in America, for example, where they have, essentially hookers who are advertising properties, and then they show people around, and because they wear these outfits and everything, and they're showing around mostly middle-aged to elderly men, these guys are buying these things up with the promise of like just seeing this woman again.
Yes.
Like buying places they can't even afford, just they can see these girls again. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. Now it's happening here. Aren't you glad?
I'm just, somebody do a tell all. Like we need somebody to do
someone on the inside.
Yes, because it's one thing someone saying, I know what happens at that house, but it's a different thing. Like there was somebody on TikTok recently who was like, guys, just tell me what's happening in your neighborhood. And all the gossip that was shared.
Oh, really?
Like there was one person who was like, there's this auntie down the road. Her husband left her like 2 years ago. He then came back. Now he is found unalive like 2 days later. And she's just saying, I don't know what happened to him. There's somebody else who has shared like this crazy story of her auntie being involved with a married man and then her being bewitched. It's wild. So I'm here for it. I need to hear those stories of those mention what happens there with the Kellys. Like, tell us. I'm here for it.
I like that very much. I think that's a good idea. The real content creators are in your neighborhood.
They are.
That's what's happening.
And it's the regular aunties that you don't suspect that will greet you at 8 o'clock in the morning as she's driving out. And you're like, you're a law-abiding, good lady. Of course you are.
No. Those people, let me tell you, those are the people who watch whatever's going on. They know what's happening. They look over the wall, check what's going on in someone else's yard, have binoculars. They sit in their room in the front of the house, checking out what's happening. I'm telling you, you mustn't underestimate those people. They're dangerous. Dangerous as hell. Rebellious Ruth says, Simpiwe is looking so glam. She always sparkles. Oh, there you go. Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, and then let's just look at this quickly. Only us 80s children will know the Beds Are Burning song. Well, apparently, our friend, the Kiffness, has put out a version of that with the flag burning in the DA ad, and it's hilarious. So if you haven't seen that yet, it's fantastic. All right, very, very good. We need to look at a couple of things in the news. Let's just fill you in on what's going on there. And also, we've got some sport coming up with Ben, so stick around for that. Okay, so Temu and Shein or Shine, South Africa. Apparently, there are people who want these closed down.
Only now?
Well, guess who's right behind the imminent threat to these is SARS.
Oh.
There's always someone who's going to spoil things. Usually it's SARS. We hate SARS. God damn you to death,
If
SARS.
there's a department that actually does its job,
Oh my God.
it's the tax man. He's like, you're not running away from me.
No.
I don't care if you're Gareth Club.
Let me
I don't
tell
care
you
if you're a
something.
corporate. Honey,
Yeah,
you're
if
going
you-
to pay what I'm due.
Right. If you think SARS isn't paying attention, you're not paying attention. So apparently, government and South African businesses claim that these two websites hurt the local economy and jobs. Trade and Industry Minister Ibrahim Patel has highlighted Temu and Shein's dominance as major challenges to the South African textile industry. The National Clothing Retail Foundation suspects these companies or their local agents are exploiting loopholes to import goods at cheaper rates. This allows them to undercut local retailers and potentially puts thousands of jobs at risk. Temu has remained silent on the accusations. However, Shein or Shine denies any wrongdoing, and they say they comply with all tax regulations and pay import duties and VAT like any other retailer. You know, what I hate about this is guess who is not being considered in all of this? You, the consumer. This is all about government wanting their share. They don't care about you being taken advantage of. They won't come to your aid if one of these websites rips you off and you don't get your delivery. They also won't fix the post office so you can have your delivery, right?
Yeah.
Instead, they'll bitch and moan about how they're not getting a slice of the pie they don't deserve. So here's what drives me crazy. If SARS is in charge of the finances of the country and makes sure that revenue comes in so that the government can spend, then SARS should apply pressure to things like the post office so that if people order from overseas, they can get their piece of the pie in terms of tax. They can get their customs and duties, which are usually outrageous. I mean, if I ordered this mug from America or from China, it arrived and it cost me 300 Rand. The taxes and duties on that would probably be another 2, maybe even another 300 Rand. So I'm pretty much paying double for it, or just under that. That was certainly my experience when I used to order a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's an additional complication in that you don't even get that, because if you do get it, it's like 6 months later. But normally you just don't get it. In other words, it's sitting in some post office warehouse somewhere.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to pay the taxes and duties before they'll release it. And most people don't do that. So there are warehouses, sorting rooms all over South Africa full of stuff that people have ordered that they never received. That's fraud. Post office. So you guys sort that out first, and then we can worry about your taxes. But the only people who pay at the end are people in South Africa earning South African rands,
Yes.
being forced at gunpoint to pay SARS money. You tidy that up and we will pay you your money. But until then, I don't want to hear from you. And if a clever South African has found a way to get cheaper clothes.
Yes, that's what I want to bring up. That when you look at those two particular brands or corporates, you can get things for dirt cheap, right? This is why, like, we'd rather buy on Shein, for example. You could.
I only found out about this last year in October from someone I know. She told me this is the best place to shop for clothes. I still haven't gone on, but I'm going to.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
Right.
So in terms of also being competitive, you know, in South Africa, buying things here is quite expensive, Mdase.
Of course.
So SARS must also consider that we're living in Cyril's economy, and a lot of the times we want to get things for cheaper. And if we can, I will go there. Like, I will spend 2 Rand instead of spending 200 Rand. And that's the reality of it. And they just need to keep up with, like, how they can tax them. And if they're doing the right things of paying, like, you know, the taxes and whatnot, then SARS, you can't ask for more. You can't be greedy. You can't.
Yeah, and KB says Shine actually delivers really quickly. My wife has ordered multiple times. So you see, and if people want that stuff, who the hell are you with your government regulations? And frankly, as for all the South African companies that are complaining about this, protectionism never works. There's always a way around it. So if you're going to try and lock us off from the rest of the world and force us to pay more, so that we can keep jobs going in this country.
You're not
No
doing
South
it.
Africans interested in that. There is nobody, not even you, government. I bet you're buying your stuff overseas. Government. There's some minister right now sitting where we shouldn't do this in a suit that he bought in London.
I was about to say that. So don't judge us when we want to buy
How dare
cups
you.
from, a Chinese shop
exactly.
somewhere. Like, don't judge us, please. We also want
Right.
to live
And
nice.
Sianda makes a good point. Sianda Mabaso says, instead of reviving manufacturing in South Africa, they'd rather bring down the competition. Exactly. Okay, very good. Good point, well put. You can find cheap stuff online. Get it.
Yeah, please do. Amazon has recently launched, and they're saying that like Amazon can't keep up with all the amounts of orders within like the first few hours. They made already a couple of millions. So we're just saying, Bazex, and someone also said on social media, I don't know who it is, they ordered something and then 4 hours later they had received whatever they had ordered.
Okay.
So also good customer service helps, guys. Like,
Well,
just
apparently,
saying.
so Woody says I've ordered twice from Shein and I got both orders exactly 1 week after I placed them.
You see?
Now
This
that is
is
efficient. If you can be that efficient, SARS, then you can ask for more money. Until then, shut your goddamned whore mouth.
Like,
Because we are the ones keeping you afloat. Okay? What a cheek, SARS, really.
imagine.
Ruining everyone's fun. Finally, South Africans find cheap, good stuff and they want to ruin it. Every
Like even
time.
me, I want to know. No, leave us alone.
I don't trust Shein and Temu or Wish. They look like a scheme to me, says Sanele. But Sanele, you haven't ordered. We've got other people here in the comments who have ordered. Import costs are ridiculous, says Naked Goose. South Africans pay a lot more for electronics than other countries.
Yes.
Again, they're scooping off the top, and the only one who pays is you. You, the consumer. Do you think they care about you? Not a chance. All right. Welcome, Ben.
Hey guys.
How's
Hello.
it? How are you this Friday?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. It is
Fresh?
Very cold. Hey?
It's getting there. Yeah, it's definitely getting there.
Did you just say Nas?
Yeah, because the people when you get to my age and you're riddled with crow's feet, the cold weather actually tightens the face. You don't look so rough under these studio lights.
Yo.
Maybe I should go to one of those cheap Chinese sites and get skincare cream.
You
I
never
wouldn't
know what
advise
that's
that.
made of. Made
I
of,
wouldn't
like,
advise
panda
that.
bollocks and-
I'm so
you know.
tired of all those ads I get fed on social media.
So you're not a big fan of these things?
It's such a weird thing because I think as humans we always have way too much shit anyway. And now these companies flood our markets even more.
Are you trying to minimize, Ben? Are
Totally.
you
And
a
I think-
minimalist?
I think all humans should try minimalize.
Minimalize.
Minimalize. Yeah, because they're so enticing. It's like buy this thing you don't actually really need, but looks kind of cool for like R7, and everyone's like, "Well, it's R7."
I just in this case, if people want stuff, you're not going to prevent them from wanting stuff. So let them get the stuff
course
and let
not.
them get it cheap.
Of course, not. But what about the crazy store, Gareth? We don't hear much about them anymore, do we?
No, we don't.
What happened to the
No.
R5 store on your local main road?
No, they're still there. They're still used as money laundering operation.
Oh, okay.
Don't you
I
worry.
didn't know that.
Yeah, the Chinese store.
I just feel sorry for the crazy stores because it's crazy how low these Chinese prices are, and they can't compete. And then we lose jobs.
All right. Well, you're here, which means it's time for us to get into some sport. We
Yeah.
do this every Friday. It gets us ready for the weekend. It's a really good way to start your weekend. And Ben has got to look at all the important things beyond the scoreboard with Ben Karpinski. Brought to you by Superbets. Take it away, Ben.
So, guys, a bit of a low weekend. You seem to have quite a few of these actually of late. There's been highs and lows, highs and lows. Like this weekend, there's not a whole bunch. But we've got to say, last weekend, well done to the Sox because they actually
The
won.
Sharks.
The Sharks won, and it was a big game to win. They were down and out and didn't look like they were going to come through in the EPCR Challenge Cup, but they did. And now they'll take on Gloucester in the finals. This will be 25 May. So they'll take on Gloucester, who's from England, and then the Investec Champions Cup final will be Leinster versus Toulouse.
Okay.
Now, I called all four of those for you last week, so
You did.
you're welcome.
There we go. So if you placed bets according to what Ben told you, not that he is in any way attached to like the gods of sport
Or gloating.
or gloating, but I think, it's a great example of like, wah, I told you so.
Yeah, look, it was also easy picks. It was all the home teams. So the Sharks made a meal out of it. They should have won by more. But anyway, hey, those are the big rugby things to look forward to. Now, we've got, obviously, the URCs back in action. We've got 3 rounds left of this. And I'm starting to become a massive URC fan. In the beginning, it was like, yeah, I'll watch, I guess. It's out there. It's thereabouts. But it's really cool. And I think now, because we've got the home stretch, that none of the SA teams are in the Investec Champions Cup, and they never were going to be, unfortunately, because it's still just too early. We still need stronger squads. We still need to work out better travel schedules, and the tournament needs to be a bit more kind, I think, fixture-wise. So the Stormers and the Bulls are basically just going to try and run this thing through to the death now. We've got 3 more games, and they're really big, especially for the Stormers, because they now have to go away from home to get the points.
There we go.
So they'll be taking on the Dragons tonight at 8:35, which sounds an insurmountable task.
Yeah, I mean, dragons, it does sound scary.
But they're Gwent dragons, not like Game of Thrones dragons. So they've got a chance. And then Edinburgh will be taking on Zebre also tonight at 8:35. So the Bulls tomorrow. Lovely day at Loftus. It'll be sunny, no doubt. Great day to inhale all that Boerewors smoke and just drink lots and lots of beer. They'll be taking on the top of the table Glasgow Warriors. So it remains to be seen if Glasgow Warriors are going to be at full strength. They seldom are at the stage of the season for their away fixtures because they're focusing on other stuff. But it'll be a damn good game that's at 2:00 tomorrow. And then the Sharks will be taking on Benetton at home 4:05. So the Sharks have been good, as I've said, from the EPCR Cup Challenge Cup thing recently. So now they get to go home, and even though they're so far out of the URC, they've got a big game this weekend. So get down to the Shark Tank for that. I think it's going to be really cool. And then we've got some Irish teams taking on some Welsh teams. But another big game to look out for is Lions versus Cardiff at 6:15. Now the Lions, they start playing later at Ellis Park when they've got no chance in tournaments. So now the scary hours for all of them. But mathematically, the Lions are currently on 39 points on 11th. So mathematically, they could still creep into the top 8. But I think that horse is bolted now. I think all they can do is to bugger up the other teams for the SA team's benefit. That's pretty much the game plan. If that's not in the coach's speech tomorrow, then that guy should not be in that job.
Oh, great.
So yeah, URC this weekend. I would definitely take a big go on the Bulls. The Bulls, as I said last week, the last time they played in the URC, they were going to bounce back heavily. I think they'll be pretty rampant again, and I don't think this Glasgow Warriors team is going to really care about losing this one because they are 4 points clear and they want to kind of manage their squad. In the Premier League, interesting week of football, really. Real Madrid coming from the death to go into the Champions League final. They'll take on Dortmund, who were just too good for PSG. PSG are kind of like the Proteas of football. Lots of hope, but absolutely fuck all silverware. But in the Premier League, this is a really good one to watch out for because Arsenal is still on top. And as an Arsenal fan, I will take that numerical advantage they have over Man City. Man City, though, they've got those 3 points in the pocket, so to speak, with a game in hand. So Saturday, Fulham versus Man City at 1:30. Fulham are not great. Man City are. Sunday, Man United versus Arsenal, 5:30. Now, Man United, historically, this is a good team. You look at the fixture and you go, good team.
Historically, when people use that word, historically,
I don't follow soccer.
It's like when they say theoretically.
Yeah.
It usually means this is not going to go at all how you think it is.
Well, you've got to give them respect, I guess, because Man United is still a big team. They've got Old Trafford's got the highest attendance. Old Trafford's got the biggest capacity in the Premier League for spectators. So when they have a full crowd, they have the most people watching their games.
Right.
It's still a place to go to. It's still daunting. And Arsenal still have to do that. But Arsenal are the kind of team that could give Man United 6-0 currently.
Last year, did they not lose once upon a time like 7-0 or something like that?
Yeah, they did. So, yeah, I mean, look, as an Arsenal fan, you look at this and go, on paper right now, significantly better. But Man United are still a bit of a bogey team here and there for Arsenal. So, yeah, I still think they're going to win that one, but it's going to be quite a tight one. And then Monday, Liverpool, who I'm talking about out of respect for James, mostly.
Do we really need to mention them?
Yeah, probably not.
Okay.
Very nice. You really shut that down quickly. But anyway, James, if you are interested, Monday, Aston Villa will be hosting Liverpool. They're out of the title race, let's be honest. They haven't even got a Proteas mathematical chance. And then there's going to be lots of cricket. There's IPL this weekend. So if you're still in the mix there, the IPL playoffs take place from the 21st of May. Okay, so that's obviously where the nitty-gritty comes in. And then we got the T20 World Cup. So I don't want to be so into T20 because we've got lots and lots of T20 coming up. So again, Apologies for not giving too much of a shit about that one. But I mean, Kolkata Knight Riders are currently top of the log as the Rajasthan Royals are tied with them on 16 points. And then it gets a bit tight from there. Basically, the top 7 have still got a chance for the playoffs.
All right.
We'll get to that close to the time. Yeah, so there's not really much else, but we've got some amazing sport coming up. Oh, sorry, the French MotoGP this weekend as well. Sorry, Simpu, I know you're a big fan of that. And then, then next week we've got the PGA champs, okay? So we're back with major golf. So there's 4 majors every single year. We've had the Masters already, which was amazing. Scotty Scheffler won that one. Scotty Scheffler's won everything this year. And then he's taken a couple of weeks off, and now we're back at the PGA champs where he'll probably win this one again.
So, Ben, someone explained this Scotty Scheffler thing to me. That his whole story and the reason that he is doing so well. I mean, he clearly comes from, there's no like hard luck story.
No.
There's no sad sack fucking media narrative of
like,
I
love that.
Where, woe is me. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and I was beaten 5 times a day by my dad. Or this is just like some guy who grew up in a nice family. His dad had lots of money. He could afford to play golf. Well,
it was comfortable.
He could afford to play golf. He had the equipment. He loved it. He practiced. He did well. And now he's just winning. And like the media don't know what to do with this because they're so used to telling victim stories that they don't have a place to go with this guy.
I think that's a great story. I know how to spin it off already. Like, we need more stories like this.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you. Because so many times these rich kids, don't do anything with their lives. They just become bums.
Right.
They just become these biggest alcoholics and druggies. And here's a guy who's like, you don't have to be like that.
Yep.
You can continue the family legacy. You can turn your family from just being millionaires to billionaires.
But also, I think it's like oversaturated with the hard luck stories.
No, guys, his story is hard luck. What's motivating him? His life's already nice. So So I think we should all feel sorry for Scotty Scheffler. He's just a nice guy. He's tall, he's handsome, he's presentable.
Right.
So he's got so much going for him. Where's the motivation to be better? But somehow he finds it for us.
He finds it. Against all odds.
Against all odds, Gareth. Against all odds. He doesn't have childhood traumas to work through. He has to physically go to that driving range.
You can't blame his uncle who made him sit on his hand.
No,
none of that stuff.
None of that. And yet he's found a way to fight through all of this and become a great golfer.
Guys,
but he is. He's really amazing.
No.
There was I'm going to mess this up, so I probably shouldn't try, but hey, I've already started. He's amazing, right? He's killing everyone right now. The gap between him and second place in the world is like the same as the gap between second and like 400. That's just how far away this dude is right now. But if he was to match Tiger's record, he needs to stay at world number 1, I think, until the year 2030.
Wow.
Okay.
2032 or 2034, around there.
It's a long way.
So as much as he's great and he's fighting against the adversity of not having adversity, this oak is still a 20th of what Tiger was.
So he's got some motivation. He's got a long way to go.
He's got a long way to go to try and catch up with Tiger.
You guys are minimizing his traumas. He had to deal with other rich kids, okay? He had to deal with the fact that
richer.
that his peers have amounted to nothing. And he is like the guy who walks into the room and everybody knows him now, Before it was his dad that would walk into the room and be like, do you know who my dad is? And now he's like, I'm that guy. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah. I'm just saying we need more stories like this. And as I said, he's motivating all the other rich kids that have become bums. That are still like living off the trust fund. No, go make your own money and you can make millions as well.
And he's so devoted to his faith, his wife, and just being a decent oak.
It's like an all-round, there we go. Simpiwe loves it. Very good.
Yeah, and he didn't take the money at Live. He's like, I'm going to play PGA Tour because I want to be good on the PGA Tour. And here we are highlighting his traumatic lived experience.
Thank you.
So, Snipes and Carl have questions for you, Ben. Ben, what is your take on the Mike Tyson fight, says Snipes?
Well, I'm happy that it's not an exhibition. It'll actually go down as a professional fight. Now, Mike Tyson's come back and he's fought a few oaks in an exhibition format.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that Mike Tyson, even though he is, however, old, there's gears of warrior in that man, which is still going to bring a good fight. Jake Paul, if on Netflix, you must watch the Jake Paul documentary. Mostly because it then takes you to the Bruce Jenner documentary. But There is a series on Netflix called Untold. So watch the Jake Paul documentary because you'll get a better understanding about what his career has been to this point.
Mhm.
All right.
I mean, the guy's invested in his career and good on him. But I think everybody wants to see a completely unleashed Mike Tyson.
Yes.
And even if that's only great for 3 rounds, that's all he'll need, I think, because there's a different level to that guy. And he does, as you heard in many Joe Rogan podcasts, he does have the ability just to sort of like turn it on.
Mm-hmm. Remember to hit the like finger red number 1 button, says Rebellious Ruth. Share and subscribe. Do all of that. And by the way, there's a special Super Bets promotion going on at the moment.
Nice.
If you predict a European champion, you could win 40,000 rand. Nice. That could be very nice in your bank account at the end of this month, don't you think?
Yeah.
There will be 3 European football kings crowned in the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Conference League. You can place a minimum bet of just 40 Rand in real money or more. If you want to put more down, you'll win more. And you put it down on any of the selected European outright markets. The prize money is 40,000 Rand. You get 20,000 in cash, 20,000 in bonus money, which you can put back into the system. Promotion runs until the 1st of June. So you've only got a few days to do this. Make sure you do it ASAP. T's and C's apply. More info can be found on the Beyond the Scoreboard page on therealnetwork.com. And Superbets, of course, supports responsible gambling. Strictly no under 18s. Winners know when to stop. The South African Responsible Gambling Foundation's toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008. You want Carl's question?
Sure.
Yeah. You had so much fun with Snipes'
I'm so
question.
happy I got my eyes
Ben,
fixed. That
Are
screen
you
is tiny.
scared if the DA win the election and the Boks never win again because of the hopelessness drying up? Is that a problem?
Yeah, Carl, that's a good question, actually. It's a very good question because the hopelessness, it does drive. But you know what? Like, Russie's in charge. He'll find other hopelessness. He'll find other drivers.
Yeah,
If
but
Russie wasn't in charge, I would say, yeah.
I think Carl makes a very good point, though, that under the ANC, a certain amount of hopelessness is baked into the cake.
Yeah.
So people will feel hopeless and therefore sport will become a more important part of their lives. When their own lives are going better, sport becomes less important.
That's a very good point. It's a very good point. And then
You
it's
know?
the Scotty Scheffler dilemma. How do I then make good with all of this good?
All of this good, you have to turn it into something and not just give
Guys,
up.
this is a real insight.
Yeah.
This is a real
like
thing
it.
we've uncovered here today. How do you become good if things are already good? But I'm
Right.
tired of also the hopeless narrative. And I think everyone in the world is. I think Chasing the Sun 2 was where we can put a pin in this whole we play for the country story.
Yeah.
It's a bit much now. It would be
Yeah.
nice if these professionals, paid professionals, can go there and just play rugby, not nation build.
You know what, Ben? Very controversial point of view. I don't know how Simpiwe feels about this, but some people would say that is sacrilege because, South African sports fans, this is their religion. And especially rugby fans. I had to sit through a very dreary lunch not so long ago where all people were talking about was this Chasing the Sun 2, which I believe is terrific.
Oh, you must watch it. You'll actually enjoy it.
I believe it's very good. I don't know that I would enjoy it because I don't really care about anything that those people do.
So, Gareth, I'll tell you why I enjoy it. The mark of great sporting content is if it's good for someone who doesn't care about sport. That is always the dream that you set out to create.
You're going to force me to watch this so that
It's
you can
good.
figure out
It's
whether it's good.
incredibly well produced, and I have no stake in this whole thing. I'm not doing any work with Chasing the Sun.
I know.
It's good. But speaking, can I just go straight into the next point about sports documentaries?
Bring it on.
You've got to watch the Bruce Jenner thing.
Oh my word. What is your obsession with Bruce Jenner this
I don't
morning?
have an obsession. I'm telling you about a
Like-
great show.
Okay, what is
So
it?
you know
Come
he
on.
always wanted to be Caitlyn from like the start.
I didn't know this. I thought it was
Neither
only
did I.
after the Kardashians.
I thought it was because the Kardashians.
Yeah, and all that trauma.
Yeah.
And
I thought it's because the Kardashians socially castrated him. He
Yeah.
wanted to do this.
I
No.
thought it was because
Bruce-
he's surrounded by all these women. They're all doing much better than him. His glory days are behind
Drowning
him.
in estrogen.
How do you live the next chapter of your life? Oh, I'll be a girl like my adopted daughters and my actual daughters and
Yeah.
my wife, and then she
Yeah.
can manage me as well.
So I know I'm throwing away a lot of story here, but for most of you, you forget about this thing in 2 minutes anyway with your carry on with your lives. But this Bruce Jenner story is fantastic because, I mean, Caitlyn now is very entertaining because Caitlyn is still Bruce mentally. She doesn't suddenly change and become like a Democrat or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
But back in the day, Bruce had a very awkward childhood and wanted to be a girl. Simple as that.
Really?
Mom left the house, dresses went on,
Really?
makeup went on. That was his game.
I didn't know.
And
this.
then it was like, well, I can't be a girl because back then you weren't being like applauded for cutting your cock off. You know, it was like, get on with it. So he was like, okay, well, I'm gonna make this Bruce character, and I'm gonna channel everything into this Bruce character who's going to be this as an athlete, this super athlete. And then he went to the Olympics and he looked up to these Soviet Union guys who obviously were the best at athletics because they were so disciplined.
Right.
And this character, the Bruce Jenner character of the this amazing guy at the Olympics, was all just to kind of like deal with wanting to be a girl.
So I still don't know.
So this is like 70s, right?
I got you. I mean, like, it is fascinating to me because probably among like famous transgenders, he's the most famous
And probably most real and genuine.
But I still don't know. Like, he's into girls. Like, this is the complicated part because
further down the line story,
there's the gender and then there's the sexuality. And I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out the motivation here.
Well, he's a lesbian.
Oh, he's a lesbian.
Well, I mean, look, let me throw a bit more into this, okay? But then it was very hard to transition and do these things. So that's why he did actually marry this woman, his original high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
Because, like, he just really enjoyed her company.
Okay.
But and he is into girls. She's now into girls. And then really wanted to transition, but it's hard work. And he thought, fuck it, I'm not doing this. Because, I mean, nobody wants to go through that process.
No.
And also wanted kids. So then Chris came along and then he had kids with her.
Yeah.
But at the same time was never
Good
always
decision, that.
Anyway, the way this documentary is told is so much better than the way I'm butchering this thing. You have to watch the untold Bruce Jenner story because, again, Caitlyn's a really good interview now. And very happy with saying, you know, people talk about the old dead naming crap. He's like, no, Bruce Jenner won the Olympics.
Yeah. Oh, so
let's not be stupid about this.
He still reckons that was Bruce Jenner.
Bruce did everything until this point.
Okay, it's very, I mean, it does sound like you have to do a lot of mental gymnastics.
I'm throwing a lot out here, I know.
Sure.
But it's a good
maybe
story.
I'll watch it. That sounds better than Chasing the Sun.
No,
too.
Chasing the Sun is good, Gareth. Chasing the Sun, as a South African, it is good because of what it touches on, and it shows you what rugby means.
I think I'm going to watch it. The irony of Caitlyn Jenner winning the decathlon. Decathlon.
The decathlon.
The decathlon is not lost on me, says Carl. All right, well, that's a very good suggestion. There's other sporting associated news which we have to get to. So apparently, you know, all golf clubs now admit women. Otherwise, they'll be closed down because it's completely unacceptable to keep people out these days. But the whole point of joining a club, an association, an institution, is to have that institution, association, or club become a part of your life and direct you in a certain way, connect you with certain people, teach you things that you wouldn't learn outside of it. Otherwise, why join a club?
Yeah, it's
just invite people to your house and have a party.
Yeah, like Cub Scouts.
Right. So the Cub Scouts are not the Cub Scouts anymore. They're not the Boy Scouts either. They're now called the Scouts of America. Do you know why?
Because ladies are joining?
Yes, but there were ladies in the Girl Guides once.
Oh, okay.
So it's more that there are transgender guys who want to join the Boy Scouts.
Oh, wow.
In other words, women who've transitioned into men.
What a fantastic opportunity to have the Trans Scouts. Make your own club.
Well,
I agree with that.
People don't want to make their own club. They want to take over existing clubs and ruin them.
No.
So, for example, there are a whole lot of these gentlemen's clubs in London, which sound dodgy because these days when you hear gentlemen's club, you think strip club.
No doubt. Eastern European women doing things that they probably didn't want to do as children.
Correct.
Yeah.
And gentlemen's club in London is a different thing. It was a place where if you lived out in the country, you would go and stay there. It was like a hotel.
Like the Ront Club in Johannesburg.
Correct. And then there would be, you know, dinner and bars, and you could entertain people there. You treated it as your home away from home, essentially. Plus, you were members along with a whole lot of other men, and then you would help each other out in business and all that kind of thing, because you'd be spending time around each other. Oh, you're at my club.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to this person. Maybe we can get some work done. Anyway, apparently all of these are now being shut down one by one, or they're being turned into like multi-faceted, easily accessible, remove the barriers to entry clubs. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in a club that everyone else is in.
Yes.
No, it seems stupid.
Otherwise, what's the point? Why do people want to become billionaires? So that they can be better than everyone else,
Yes.
money-wise. Why do people become great athletes? Because they want to prove to the world they are the best.
Yeah,
They're not
unique.
like everyone else. Why do people start their own businesses? Because they don't want to work for someone else. They want to be different. Why do you have children and try to do the best for your children? You want them to be better than every other child.
Yes.
You want to give them the best possible advantage there is. We've become so, like, again, these narratives. We've had people bullshit us into believing that the most important thing is equality, but nobody actually wants equality. Nobody. Everyone wants to be better than. Am I
Yes.
wrong?
Oh, no, I agree with you 100%. You can even simplify it to bank cards. The reason why there is a black card and we all like, ooh, because it tells us that you've made, a certain amount of money.
So if everyone had black cards,
it takes away that privilege of
Nobody
being able
cares.
to brag about the card. It's the same thing with the car keys. There's a reason why the car keys go on the table and people are like, that's a German car. Okay,
So
that
if
says
people-
something about
so
you.
if people want to get together with other people who want to be different, it does sound counterintuitive, but in small groups and
Mhm.
clubs and associations, let them.
Yes.
I'm not trying to break into the women's Tupperware fest on a Thursday in order to be a part of it because I feel excluded.
Please exclude me from all of those things.
Yeah, well, this is the point.
I
I don't
insist.
even want to be, I don't even go to the rugby, which most South African men do. I'm happy to be excluded. I'm not going to force my way in. Why didn't I get box tickets to the game at Loftus next week?
Mhm.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to force my way into your club. Have your club. I'll start my own or I'll join one that I like. But what is this thing that we suddenly have to have everybody and everything? Remove the barriers to entry. No, there should be more barriers to entry.
Yeah.
We should have like barriers to entry to being a South African. You should have to fill in a quiz that proves that you actually know something about this country, and then you can get your vote. Like, do you know the national anthem? Can you identify the flag? Name 3 countries we have a border with. If you can't answer those questions, how can you call yourself a South African? Yes, we must make the barriers to entry greater, not less.
Exactly. So what's happening now with these clubs that you mentioned? So there's one club, I forget the name now, but for 200 years, it's been a gentleman's club.
Okay.
Right.
So again, Gareth, you teed this up perfectly. It's a place where gentlemen go to meet, and as you say, coming from out of town, it's your home away from home, and that's how it is. This is why they've lasted for so long, because they had a permanent function in society.
Right.
And women can go there. They must wear trousers, but they can go there, they can have a meal, they can socialize, they can do all these different things. So then you get these uppity women who want to come in and go, there's an opportunity for me to grandstand about something.
Okay, so the article that you're referring to is from The Guardian, which I would advise everyone not to read. But there's some short-haired, angry-looking woman.
Funny that.
Always the short-haired, angry-looking ones. Jemima Olchowski or whatever.
Okay.
She says, after 200 years, women can finally join the Garrick Club.
Have they
Now
been
for the
asking,
task.
have they
Wait.
been asking for 200 years?
Now for the task of making it share power, not hoard it. First of all, this obsession with power is making people so unattractive.
Yeah.
It's a club, honey. And if there is power in it, they don't want to share it with you. No one wants to share. No one wants to share their bed with you. Are you insane? Get out. It's got no business there. Start your own short-haired, angry women's club. There'll be plenty of those who'll come to you and join your one. Why do you ruin this? I'm not a member of the Garrick Club. I could care less. I don't want to join it. But clearly she's got this burning desire to be in this club. Burning. She thinks she's missing out on everything.
Yeah, I know it sounds simplistic to say this, but hey, I'll just go for it. A lot of men maybe didn't give her attention.
Oh.
Maybe from her background, not a lot of attention. So now she wants to plunder these people and take away their power. And everyone's got trauma, and that's great. But
There's another
deal with it
woman
professionally.
There's another woman who looks just as unattractive, Gabby Hinsliff, who said,
you got to pull these articles up on the screen here
who
because
says the Garrick Row is not about women getting in. It's about the dinosaurs desperate to keep us out.
Oh. Okay.
So why do you want to hang out with the dinosaurs, love?
But also, do these
that
people
one out.
really think everyone else is thinking about them all the time?
No.
You really think a bunch of men getting drunk on a Friday afternoon at their club wearing tweed jackets and smelling of mothballs. You really think they're sitting there going, we kept those bitches out another week?
So this is another point.
They're going, well, I don't know what you're doing tomorrow, but I'm thinking of a round of golf. Oh, no, my knee's too bad. I can't play
Exactly.
golf.
They're talking about prostate checkups and golf.
And Gabby Hinsliff wants to be a part of that conversation. Gabby, you have nothing to say about prostate checkups. And I'm pretty sure you don't care about golf. Why do you want to be in there so badly?
That you're now ruining it.
What did your daddy not tell you as a little girl that you feel so bad about this? Get on with your life. Start your own club. You and Jemima Olchowski. The two of you could go and start a club. You know what? Your club might be more interesting. Maybe I'd want to join. And you know what you could do? You could say, no, you're not allowed in. You know how great that'll feel? Then you'll be the dinosaurs. Do it. I dare you. Fucking hell. It's not complicated. Really. I'm so sick of this. And honestly, you only get this shit in the Guardian. And the fact that this club is now open, let's see how many women are desperate to get in besides these two harpies.
Well, that's what they were harping on about. They were saying, okay, cool. We've broken the shackles. But then the thing is now it's like, okay, cool. You must still be invited by the club to become a member. So now they're all folding their oversized arms going, where's my invite? You can't, no one knows who you
Put
are.
in the work. Okay. Like you, come on, guys. But so if you've protested till this far.
Simpiwe does all these cool things with her girlfriends. They sound like a lot of fun, right? I have no business trying to doorstop my way into Simpiwe's social calendar just because it sounds like
it would
fun.
Be weird. Yeah.
It would be creepy as hell.
Way to describe it.
Right. So don't do this. Let people have their clubs. There are lots of clubs I will never belong to, and I'm perfectly okay with that. There's some that I might want to belong to, and you know what? As Simpiwe says, do the work to get in.
Thank you.
Prove that you're worthy. Yes. Answer a few questions. Fill in a form. Get someone who's already in the club to nominate you as a member. And who knows? Your wildest dreams might come true.
So another you know, and this will be the last point that I bring up about this. If you Google Garrick Club, right?
Yeah.
So
Garrick.
Do a cursory Google search around that. You will not see one article where someone's actually provided an opinion other than these short-haired harpies going, oh, this is such a big win for us. No one said, okay, hang on a sec here. Let's just take a step back and brought up any of the points that we've just brought up. Not one article. You can search. Go search 2-3 pages, whatever.
Sure.
By the way,
no one, because it's a hot topic, right? You can't be on the wrong side of this.
I've got to read you the first paragraph of this because it's just like the way it's written. If you'd even want to be in a room with these two women after hearing how this paragraph goes, the author of this, I'd be surprised, right? She wants to get into this club so badly, but just listen to how awful she is. Britain's Old Boys Club suffered a blow last night. The Garrick Club, an exclusive gentleman's club in central London, relic of some 19th century fantasy of male dominance, voted to allow women to become members for the first time in 200 years. About 60% of the votes were in favor. So a majority of the men in this dusty old dinosaur club they're talking about and can't say anything nice about. They say a relic of some 19th century, fantasy of male dominance. 60% of those men were like, yeah, all right, let the women in. We don't really care. But she still needs an enemy. She's like St. George without a dragon, right?
Absolutely.
In the 21st century, there's no legitimate justification for the exclusion of women. There never really was. That the Garrick Club's exclusionary policy has been so robustly defended in recent weeks, it hasn't. 60% said come in. Speaks to profound misogyny alive and well in Britain. What would including women do to the refined, rarefied air of the club? Contaminate it with our chit-chat, our nagging? Would our feminine charms prove too much of a distraction?
Please stop. I see what the problem is. We need more therapists, okay, guys? Please go to school and become a psychiatrist, a psychologist, because that is trauma right there, just speaking. That is some hurt daddy issues and whatnot. She got rejected from like a boy she really liked in high school, and now she just wants to... Can we just... Please deal with your inner child, guys. Please, can we just, and the world would be a better place. That's it. Because that paragraph right there, I was just like, girl.
I'm just amazed that she managed to type with her hands on her hips like that. I will tell you. How did she do that?
Let go of that anger.
Do you know what she is? She is the chairperson of something called the Fawcett Society. Do you know what that is?
As I said, we need more therapists. Can we make therapy just freely available so that people can heal their inner child? Because,
the Fawcett Society is a group that involves themselves in gender equality. It's about time. And this is her whole thing. So she's thrilled because everywhere she can get more women in, more trans people, or more black people, or whatever her thing is, because she's got a whole lot of groups here that she says, and she's not black, and I can't tell if she's trans or not, but I think this is her thing. It's
she probably comes from a good country estate in the south of England.
Probably. She's probably quite spoiled. Anyway, this is her thing. So I think what we must do is all of us straight men should join her Fawcett Society.
Yeah.
Should force our way in. Let's go to the next meeting.
Tough thing is we all got lives a lot better than that.
I'll go to one. You go to the second one.
I'll go to one with no pants on.
Okay, let's do it. Come on, this will be fun.
There's no ground to judge me on that. It's my choice.
All right. Well, someone's paying her Fawcett Society to exist. It's not her. So good luck on that one. Anyway, if you live to enter, I don't know, a bunch of old men's locker rooms, if that's your fantasy, all I can say to you is just go to the gym I go to. You'll see so much old man that you'll want to quit after the first day. Trust me. Even Simpiwe, who's just got into gym now, give it a week in my gym where you have access to those men's locker rooms.
I'm good. So
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out myself with gym.
Standing like this with the towel.
Oh my! Okay,
Going
no,
like
I'm
that.
good. No, I don't need that kind of trauma. I'm good, sir.
Terrific. All right, so we have other stuff to get to, but we are going to talk to David Walliams from Little Britain in a while. I pre-recorded an interview with him. Hilariously funny. We were talking about it with Leanne on Monday and saying how that show could never be made today.
Absolutely not.
One of the things that we covered with him in the conversation. That's coming up a little later on. So we won't take a break now. We'll take it at the end of this and then go straight to David Walliams. But Simpiwe's got a couple of things that she wants to talk about this morning. First of all, there is someone who made bubblegum from scratch.
Yes.
You can do this?
I also did not know. So there's a lady.
It sounds like a Temu purchase.
Yeah. Here's your bubblegum kit. Made of panda sinews.
3 plastic bags.
Okay, so there's a lady on the socials, Nora Smith. She's married to a guy called Lucky Blue Smith. She's from South Africa, but doesn't stay here anymore.
Okay.
And she's been making these like videos where she'll cook meals for her family, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she was kind of like, what got her attention was she'd make things from scratch. So she'll say, oh, tonight I'm making lasagna, and then make the mozzarella from scratch. She'll make the pasta from scratch, and even the butter from scratch, right?
It's like a 3-day job.
Yes, but that was her thing. She'd make these Cinnabons, and they're all from scratch. Like, basically, we're like, okay, girl, we see you. I was like, you can be on, come dine with me. And when they ask you, did you make this from scratch? She can say yes. But now she's just completely blown my mind, because in her most recent video, she was like, oh, my sister's around and she was craving bubblegum, so I made it from scratch. And I was like, whoa, ma'am. Like,
how do you do that?
She mixed things together, Gareth. Even me, I don't know what she
I feel like
mixed.
this is one of those things you don't want to know how it's made.
But she, apparently,
like sausages, yeah.
apparently it tasted good, right? And then I was like, Nora, please come back home. We actually need you, because after the 29th, can you make us some electricity? Like, can you just?
Yeah,
I'm just
19 days
saying.
for load shedding, everyone.
Yeah, guys, get ready. How many days?
19.
So
19.
I'm just saying, because you're making everything from scratch. You're like, I'm that girl who, please come back home. Kumbilekaya, help with the electricity. Like, that's it, you know? So yeah, that is Nora Smith.
I like her. She sounds great.
Oh no, she's amazing.
I love people who go back to basics, first principles, figure shit out. And that's the kind of person you want on your zombie apocalypse team, right? She can make whatever happen. She knows how to do this stuff. Most of us just go to the shop, grab something, put it in the trolley. We call ourselves cooks or chefs. We get home. We basically do the last 3 steps in a 10-step program to make food. And if we were let loose in the world, we wouldn't know what to do.
It's because we've got stuff to do, Gareth. I mean, it's the hard nose. Good jobs to do.
It's like joining these clubs, right? Who has the time?
Making me sound useless. I mean, the first 8 hours of the day, I was trying to make the money to go to the supermarket.
So I saw an interesting article, and this goes back to what Simpiwe and I were talking about with Temu and Shein and all the rest of it earlier. Amazon is in South Africa. I don't know if either of you ordered anything from them yet?
I thought their website looked very underwhelming.
Did you?
It's like someone made it recently from scratch, clearly.
So I did see one headline in the social media reels this morning, and that is that apparently Take-A-Lot, obviously feeling a bit of pressure from Amazon, have got this thing where you can subscribe now and you'll get free delivery.
Ooh,
Well, that's like Checkers. Checkers do that thing as well.
Correct. Yeah. So now delivery costs are coming right down.
What's the subscription though?
Yeah, I don't know what that
Yeah,
costs.
look, if
I'm
you're
not
in
sure.
for buying 4 or 5 pieces of tat every single month, it probably works out.
Hmm.
A lot of people do. A lot of people buy that. Like I just find that I'm a visual person. I go on the Amazon site and I go, I'm not shopping here. It looks like shit. And like if you go into like deals of the day, like the first page is just books. I'm not buying books from you.
Oh, so they've got crappy inventory.
It just doesn't look sharp. Like Take-A-Lot looks like slick.
Okay.
It looks slick, and I want to buy stuff.
I placed the Take-A-Lot order last week and it's arriving today. So I'll feed back on that on Monday.
Look,
But I've never had a problem with them before.
No, this whole delivery thing. Like, what do you need the next day that's so damn important?
Yeah.
You can get around that.
Yeah, I don't mind that you have to deliver today thing.
3 days thing.
Unless you're in a huge hurry for something, in which case you didn't plan, to be fair. Now, apparently the other thing that's happening in the economy is that we've finally decided what our car of the year is. And I was hoping George would be here with us this morning to tell us about it. But which one is the car of the year?
The South African car of the year is
for
the
2024, right?
Yeah, the BMW 7 Series. And I love when the expensive cars are car of the year.
Nice.
Because the whole, I mean, again, this is a great George conversation, but car of the year used to be quite prestigious as far as like the prestigious cars, because you want to aspire to that.
Right.
And then it became a lot more inclusive, Gareth. And then
like the clubs.
You would get like cheap cars getting car of the year, and they had their merits, no doubt about it. The fuel efficiency, the value for money, the family values you could have.
Right.
But if I like car of the year, it's like, what's the best car? And I tell you what, the people who made the BMW 7 Series spent a lot more time, effort, and money than making I don't know, what's an average car? Toyota Urban Cruiser. Toyota Urban Cruiser is a great car.
Hyundai
these are all great cars.
10 or whatever.
If anyone had to say, what car would you like? No one's making it rain on the 200,000. That they want the best.
Most of us, if we could afford a better car, we would buy a better car.
But the BMW 7 Series, I have a dream. I have many dreams.
Oh, the price.
Yeah.
Did you just cough because of the price? What's the price, Simpiwe?
Okay, so your installment, if you can't afford it cash.
See, but this is a cash car. This is unfortunately.
But just in case, you know, for those who.
What are your installments? I'm presuming you put down a deposit, though.
I
you
don't
should.
know.
Otherwise, the balloon payment will take you to the moon.
Sure, guys. 38,342 rand
a month.
And then if you can afford to purchase it cash, this car starts at 2,459,000 rand.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that starts here, so that's no interiors. Like you still got to pick out the
entry
seats.
level.
Basically, it's straw inside.
Yeah.
You then have to pay extra to get all the stuff.
I'm not sure if this is true, but if you buy a Porsche, the steering wheel is not even included. Like that's like if you were to say, look, guys, I want no extras, you're right up there with like no steering wheel. So like that's a different conversation. But it's a beautiful car.
It is a beautiful car. It looks a bit like a Rolls or like a bit because it's got that weight to it. It looks like
I think
really.
BMW still have an affiliation with Rolls, or they.
I don't know, but it looks good.
Well, whatever it is, that car would be the best car. If you were to drive to Cape Town tomorrow, that car.
Yeah.
And whether you're being driven or you're driving it.
But you see, Ben, they still have categories.
I know they've got categories.
No one cares about these categories, but let me give them to you anyway. The budget category. Do you know what a Suzuki Fronx is?
It looks like a Fronx.
It sounds horrible. It sounds like it's a frog that looks like it turned into a car.
Again, who names these things? I want to know. I want to see the faces of the people who have ever named these shitty names that people give to cars. I drive behind cars sometimes and I'm like, what is a Jolyon?
Starlet.
Right? What is that?
Well, that's what when you make things often. It's like if you'd put a name to a podcast every single day, like a show name, you're gonna come up with some shit every now and again. I know. I used to write the blurbs.
These guys come up with shit every time
because they're making so many different cars. The BMW 7 Series is the same as it was in the 70s when it was the 7 Series. So you got a legacy play here.
7 Series is great because we know what that is.
It's a class in itself.
And they've been doing this for like almost 100 years. Yeah. Okay, so Suzuki Fronx is the most brilliant budget compact car.
Yeah, great.
Compact family car, Toyota Urban Cruiser.
Oh, okay.
And we got a luxury car, BMW 7 Series.
That'll win that.
Performance, BMW M2.
Oh, that car. Power to weight ratio. It's probably the hottest M you can have right now.
And 4x4 double cab, a Volkswagen Amarok.
That's controversial. If you were to go into this country, I mean, if the Hilux doesn't win that, I reckon it's a dull day in Toyota.
Adventure SUV. You know when they use like a word that has nothing to do with it?
So that's like mid-range then.
It's a Mahindra Scorpion N.
Those Mahindra drivers.
We don't have to say anything about them. We mustn't draw any attention.
Scorpion.
Really. Honest to God. What is a Francs? Can someone please just find the person who called that car a Francs and just beat them to death with a baseball bat?
If you take the tiles of a Scrabble board, you throw it out, and then F is
Francs.
Francs.
It's so bad.
Nailed it.
It's just absolutely horrific. Okay, well done to BMW though, and I do agree with you. That 7 Series looks luxury as F.
Incredible innovations like that. The innovation that goes into that you'll find in other models down the line because that's it's the flagship.
The worst name was from Icon, Icona Style, Icona Class, Icona Focal. Oh, that's great. Oh man, a Ford Icon. What a shitty name for it. The Francs has a shitty name, but it looks better than a lot of other Suzukis, says Just Milan.
It is for that category, it's a good looking car.
It's a good looking.
These are all basically rental cars that you're gonna go you go to East London for a day, you need to get around, you're gonna make it rain on the Francs. If someone gives you a Francs, you'd be like, it's all right.
Francs.
It's better than a Suzuki Espresso.
So bad.
Have you seen the Suzuki Espresso?
No.
Okay, yeah, it's not bad.
No, Francs is a handsome, dashing,
really?
looking
car. All right, the Francs.
It's okay. It's okay. It's it's trying.
Look, if you've only got 300,000 Rand or I don't know what this costs, and you want a new car that's reliable and Francs.
Okay, well, there we go. That's the ad they're going to get this morning. That's
somewhere
all.
in this country, over drinks, they go, hey, I see you got the new Francs. And they'll be like, I know, it was so cool. Like, I had so many other options, but I had to go with the Francs.
All right, good. Okay, quickly, any exciting things happening this weekend?
No, I'm trying to have less exciting weekends.
No, Ben's like straight away. No,
well, I've been away.
Keep it as boring as fucking possible.
I'm having a boring 2 months because I need to get back to what real life is, not going away all the time. Actually, put in some Monday to Fridays and that kind of stuff because otherwise it makes me a little bit light in the head. So yeah, I'm playing golf tomorrow.
Oh,
which I'm hugely excited
That's
about.
Good. No, well, that's good. That's good enough.
No plans. I'm just gonna be indoors and chilling like a villain.
All right, very good. Don't forget, everybody, it's Mother's Day on Sunday. So
of course,
even if you hate your mom, you must make an effort for Mother's Day.
No, I disagree. Let's work it out if you hate her. Don't be insincere.
You think so?
I hate you old bitch, but here's some flowers. No, talk to her. Get on better terms. Don't just patch it. Don't just patch it up with gifts.
Fix it.
Or some tat that you found on Temu.
Okay. Right. On that note,
there's some great advice.
Can I share some before we close? I recently came across this cool quote, and I was like, I'm no motivational speaker, but I think I should share this with everyone.
Bring it on
as we wrap up. Right? It says, marriage is hard, divorce is hard, choose your hard. Obesity is hard, being fit is hard, choose your hard. Mm-hmm. Communication is hard, not communicating is hard. Choose your hard. Being in debt is hard. Being financially disciplined is hard. Choose your hard. Life will never be easy. It will always be hard. So choose your hard wisely.
Beautiful.
Damn right.
I could not have said it better. In fact, I think
that's an opening line to a movie that I once saw. Yeah.
What? Choose your hard.
I don't want to know that movie.
All right, everybody. Have a Francs weekend. And coming up, I'll intro it for you in a second. We're going to take a quick break, but coming up, David Walliams, famous British comedian, writer, now children's author, and really funny all-round guy. We spoke to him. He was standing in his kitchen when I spoke to him, so you also get a look at his house. And that's all coming up next.
This week on the Auto Trader Podcast. Okay, I always say there are two types of motorcyclists in the world.
Uh-huh.
Those who have fallen and those who are going to fall.
Okay.
Now, once you've fallen and you realize that the tar, or whatever else you fall on, is very, very unforgiving.
And hot.
and it removes bits of your anatomy.
Ouch.
You will begin wearing safety gear. There are a lot of guys that have not had the experience of falling yet, and they think they're invincible. We do see it within our community a lot. Guys wearing Crocs, shorts, and a tank top, and he's barreling down the freeway at 160, and you're like, when this guy falls, he's going to be missing quite a lot of skin.
Ouch.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Well, David Walliams is an extraordinary talent, an actor, comedian, writer, television personality. He's coming to South Africa because he's written a slew of incredible children's books. I actually spoke to a friend of mine today, and she told me that her 5 children are all absolutely in love with David's books. My own 2 nephews are just as excited about the fact that I'm going to bring them some of his books. And here he is to tell us all about it. David Walliams, it's such a pleasure to see you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Exceedingly well. I'm more happy than you can imagine for having you. And I'm so fucking excited to see you. Actually, I can't contain myself. No, I mean, look, the books are amazing, and I do want to talk about them because I know that's why you're talking to us. But there's so much other stuff that I'd love to pick your brain on. Either way, congratulations on the success of all of these books. They've been a tremendous phenomenon. And I mean, did you know that you would end up writing children's books at any point, or is this just something that came along?
Well, I'm just thinking that I've been writing professionally for about 30 years, and 15 of those years have been writing books for children. So it's been a big part of my career, but I was so focused in the early part of my career on being, trying to create successful comedy shows for television. I wasn't really thinking about it other than being a fan of children's books as an adult, just loving reading as many children's books as I could, because when you become an adult, you realize there's quite a lot of good children's books that you've missed because you weren't the right age or you never got around to actually reading them. So I was reading a lot and thinking, I've got an idea for a children's story. Maybe I should have a go. Might be interesting. Someone might want to read it. That was The Boy in the Dress. That was 15 years ago. And I think there's been about 40 titles since then. So I've been busy, but I do love it. And it's not that different to what I was doing before in terms of it's still writing, creating characters, making jokes, those kind of things. It's just a kind of emotional dimension that I didn't do before because you can't really do emotions much in comedy sketches.
Well, I beg to differ. You even used the word "try" just now, and I mean you've been successful as all more in that pursuit as well. But what I love about these books, and what I used to love as a kid, I loved, and there's the inevitable comparison with Roald Dahl, which I'm not sure if you're happy with that or you're unhappy with it. But from my point
I'm
of view,
happy. I imagine he's unhappy.
well,
He
I
is
think
rolling in his grave.
I don't know. I think Roald Dahl and you have a lot in common, and it's not just that you shared the illustrator Quentin Blake, which I recognized immediately from my own childhood, but it is also it's in the style. And you take your readers seriously. Roald Dahl never pandered to children. He never sort of spoke to them in humiliating child speak, and you do the same thing. I mean, you've got great stories.
He never patronized them, and I think that's what people love about it. And also, people forget that children are quite aspirational. So when you're 10, you want to read a book that's really for like 12-year-olds, and when you're 12, you want to watch an 18 film, and it's just the way it is. So if you make a really cutesy story about Harry the Hedgehog, kids beyond about 6 probably aren't that interested because it just sounds kind of cutesy. But to read something that feels forbidden, that you're reading under the covers with a torchlight, and you think maybe my parents would totally approve because it's a bit rude or a bit scary. I think that's a better thing. And also, children are sophisticated, and the entertainment they want is that I don't think they want things that feel childish. And I think that's the most important thing, not to underestimate them. And I suppose that's what I learned from him. But I wouldn't put myself in the same universe as talent as him.
Don't know. It seems like they're selling like hotcakes all over the world, which is
yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're as good, are they? I mean, there's plenty of brilliant writers who don't necessarily sell millions of books, and lots of bad writers who do. So I can't go, oh well, I've told these books, I must be brilliant. You just got to listen to your own instincts, and if I'm happy with it, then I kind of think, maybe it's good, and maybe I want to share it with people. But I can't really be my own critic. Other people can get on with that if they want to.
I just love the fact that there's also that you hinted at it already, that little bit of naughtiness, that little bit of things that are disgusting or things that kids shouldn't talk about, that all the prim and proper mums and dads might say, I don't know if that's appropriate. And you kind of go there. And I think children love that because it does feel as if they're going into forbidden territory.
Yes. And but what I would say about that is, even if kids are reading something that's like feels a little bit edgy in some way. Obviously, you don't want them reading 50 Shades of Grey, but if they're reading something a little edgy like The Witches or something, I mean, most of all, you'd be pleased that they're reading with all the distractions they have now. But I think, I'm not sure you would exactly sort of disapprove exactly. I don't really know. We often assume that there's other people who have I don't know, who think in a certain way that they want to censor everything and moralize for everything. But I don't really know anyone like that. And I don't know if you do, but I don't know if people seriously disapprove of things like the Roald Dahl book. I can't think that they would.
No, I don't think that there are a lot of people in my life or necessarily in yours like that, but I certainly think they exist. And you've encountered lots of them through the course of making shows like Little Britain, things that you took the piss out of things, which now I think people are tremendously sensitive about. And I don't know if you could make shows like that anymore. I don't know if you could write certain books anymore. You mentioned 50 Shades of Grey. I think, there'd be a lot of...
I've read it, so I don't know much about it, but I know what the story is vaguely, but I haven't read it. My mum read it, and my mum's 80.
Well, I think it's probably just a little bit of slap and tickle, and maybe it gets a bit extreme. But there'd be people who'd say, "Oh, well, it's abusive" and all of that stuff.
No,
and
I haven't read it, but it was written by a woman, and it's a sort of fantasy of sorts, isn't it? But I just think, I suppose we're just more sensitive. But something like Little Britain, it was satirizing Britain of 20 plus years ago, and if you were making it now, it'd be different because you'd be satirizing this moment in time. So yeah, sensitivities are different, but every day someone comes up and says, "Oh, is there going to be more Little Britain? Oh, we're loving it," and new generations all the time are discovering it. I think "Come Fly With Me" is like number 1 or 2 often in like most downloaded TV shows on iTunes. That's like about, I don't know, like me getting on for about 15 years since it was made. So what can I say? I mean, there's still a big audience for things. And if you look at like Netflix comedians like Dave Chappelle or Ricky Gervais or Jimmy Carr, people like edgy stuff, don't they? I mean, it's still, they're probably the biggest comedians on Netflix. I don't know about you, but when I hear something's controversial, I immediately want to see it, listen to it, whatever, because it's interesting. And some art sets out to shock and offend. I mean, if you're the Sex Pistols or the photographer Robert Mapplethorpe, or your certain artists with Tracy Emin or something, I mean, that shocking is part of what you're trying to do. So, I mean, Ricky Gervais I watched that the other day. I mean, I mean, I wasn't shocked exactly, but I kind of understand that it's got shock value. And those things are wildly popular. So I don't think those things are going away. I don't think there'll be a time when no one can have fun. I mean, I always think it's like different strokes for different folks. I always think Life of Brian is probably my favorite comedy film ever.
Yeah,
I love it, but if you were the Pope, you probably wouldn't. Can't worry about it. So it's not for the Pope. Well, I like it, just as I wouldn't. I watched Austin Powers movie with my son, who loves it, and my mum watched it as well. She didn't like it, but it was like, well, okay, fine. She's have to watch the next one, does she? I mean, we thought it was hilarious. She didn't, but so what? It's a bit rude. It's sort of cheeky and cartoony, but I don't know. With the weird idea that we all have to consume the same art at the same time and have the same opinion about it, just seems kind of crazy and unworkable.
Well, you sort of, I read this in a hurry just before because I thought, actually, it looks like I could probably manage it in about 5 seconds. And I got through it. I loved it. This is just, there's a snake in my school. And I think the theme of that was also be as individual as you can. It's okay to have a python. Of course, the headmistress gets eaten, spoiler alert, but that's the kind of thing that kids love. They want their headmistress, the wicked Mrs. whatever her name was, to be eaten.
Yeah, well, that's fun and exciting, isn't it? It would. I always think also we made the distinction if that happened in real life, it would be horrifying. But in the context of a story, it's okay. And I think it's the same with lots of things, with jokes, whatever. It's like if that was real, you know, then that would be really disturbing. But it's not real, and you know it's not real. So
Sure.
probably going to be okay with it.
But I do have to, before we move on from Little Britain, just tell you that when I posted a picture of me and my co-host on a show as Bubbles and Duduzile once from Little Britain, I was actually banned from Facebook. And that was in the early days when you would.
Good. Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, I would just ban you anyway, regardless of who you dressed up. I wouldn't have any compunction about that.
So we were banned thanks to you and Matt Lucas.
Forever?
Well, no, I had to start a new account, which
okay. Well, that means you were sort of banned forever. It just means that you escaped through the net.
I think someone banned it on the grounds of nudity because you had those prosthetic boots on.
Yeah. Well, I'm with Facebook on this. I think we should be.
Well, I also have to say that I've got a friend called Emily.
I don't believe that for a second.
No. We ended up calling her Emily Howard just because of your show. I still call her Emily Howard to this day. In fact, I was the MC at her wedding and told everyone her name was really Emily Howard. The people in the crowd who got it, which was a majority, thought it was very, very funny. But that's an interesting character too. And I mean, the boy in a dress, which is such an interesting idea. There are all these changes that have happened in society too. And characters like Emily Howard, I mean, I think it was made with a very kind of poking fun, but at the same time not being nasty. It was never mean.
No, it was pretty innocent. But also, I think we've changed how we see that. Because I was playing a transvestite, and the definition of a transvestite is someone who cross-dresses for pleasure.
Right.
And now we talk much more about trans issues in more general ways. So we're now talking about people who are struggling with their gender identity, which is not something we were depicting. So it's quite, it's just worth keeping an eye on what you were doing, just because it was just perceived a bit differently 20 years ago. But that's what we were doing, and the joke of the sketch was, Emily Howard keeps kind of giving herself away a bit by kind of overcompensating. And that was what the joke was. But, with all our characters, I feel they were like quite fun and celebratory, and you wanted to spend time with them because they were like funny characters. But I think if we would represent, if you were doing a joke about someone who was transgender, that's different, isn't it? But that she's not transgender. She's transvestite.
Look, I'm not trying.
I think they're really different things, and certainly the perception of it 20 years ago was, it was on pencil cases and stuff like that. So I think if people had really thought it was really kind of worrying in some way, it wouldn't have been on pencil cases and stationery sets and lunch boxes and stuff like that. People would have thought, so that's it. So some sort of attitudes have changed, but. I mean, most people don't worry about this kind of stuff because they've got other stuff to think about and worry about. And I think it opens a more general thing of like art from the past that we now, wouldn't quite have done now. But what are we going to do? Are we going to edit every movie? Are we going to? I mean, we just drive ourselves mad. And I remember growing up, in the 70s and 80s, and my dad was really into like Humphrey Bogart movies that we watched, and sort of old Bond movies and stuff. And the way that women are treated in movies from the past, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s is really different. And I remember I found things jarring. Humphrey Bogart slaps a woman across the face, and it's really jarring. But what are we going to do? We're going to edit those, suppress those movies, edit those movies. They're of their time, and I think you mainly can only really understand kind of art in the context of its time, unless it's completely timeless for whatever reason. Like it's not about modern life in any way, and it tells us about the past. It's interesting, Charles Dickens tells us about what life was like 200 years ago. It wasn't the same. And so, but just imagine going through Charles Dickens and putting lines through things that we would just think wouldn't do that now, you know. So it's just like an endless kind of thing, isn't it? Where we'd have to dismantle everything that ever happened. So it's a task, and then in 5 years' time, we'd have to do it all again, because in 5 years' time, there would be some different kind of feeling about the world and new issues that would have come to the fore.
I certainly didn't bring it up because this is like the BBC hard talk, and I expect you to, go through your conscience about things that I loved every second of it. I can see it in context. And I think that these children's books will have an element of timelessness to them. I mean, there are probably things in Roald Dahl, and you've been criticized too, probably things in Roald Dahl that people would look at and go, oh, I don't know about that. I mean, Astro Chimp, which you're about to launch too. And I think you're coming to South Africa to bring it here for the first time.
And actually, the book is coming out in South Africa first, which is
fantastic.
Yeah, because I'm doing these festivals, and obviously I thought it'd be nice for people to get the book first, and then I get a chance to talk about it, and people get to actually read it. And obviously, so that's exciting, and I'm glad that is happening, because it makes it a bit more special. Because kids generally want the new book, as soon as they can. So it's nice they're getting it first.
Well, I mean, the reason I bring it up is also because there would probably be some kind of animal rights activist somewhere, some lunatic fringe type personality who would say, well, you're actually drawing on some terribly cruel things when we sent all these animals to space once. And the idea is that all of them, kind of get together in space and do things, which is quite cool.
In my book, they're all still alive, but I mean, I've not really heard that. I mean, the first animals I sent into space was 1948, and they were flies, and so they wouldn't be alive now anyway. But again, I mean, it's like a fantasy. I just think, I think people thought it's sad that some of these animals died in space, cold or hunger. I mean, it is sad. But I'm not representing that. I'm saying it's like Star Wars in space, and it's like Star Wars with animals. And I've created new names, new identities for all the characters, and they're all still alive. So I'm not really getting into the morality of sending a chimp or a dog into space. Just writing a fantasy, which that was where that is the starting point.
Do you think that the kids they need to be persuaded to read now, because all these devices have made things a lot more busy, and there are so many other options, and there's animation and there's video, and a lot of parents, I suppose, just plop their kids in front of some device, and there's a world of real excitement in literature, and especially in kids' books that activate the imagination. There's a magic to that you just don't get from a screen.
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah, because I think with books you have to work, you have to think, you paint the images in your head, but it's also it's a more intimate experience, because it's just the writer and the reader, having this communication with each other, and so it is a special thing. I think it is hard to get kids to read, but I would say the biggest thing is trying to get kids to read for pleasure. Because if you we all had to read books in school, and if that was taught well, it would be interesting and exciting. And I had great teachers, so we read Shakespeare plays and stuff. And I loved those lessons. A lot of people would think, oh, having to study Shakespeare would be some kind of chore, but the teacher brought it alive in an amazing way. But I'm slightly digressing. I'm saying if your child wants to pick up a book or a graphic novel or a comic or whatever, that's a great thing, because they want to read. They are a reader, and if they don't read as a child, the chances are they won't read as an adult, and you just miss out on so much. There's so much information and entertainment in books that and the way books work is just different to other things. It's not just a story, and it'd be better if it was a film. There's something else going on in the way that you consume it. So that's what I see really as my mission, which is to get kids reading and for pleasure. I don't regard these books, and nor does anyone else, by the way, as great works of literature. I do my absolute best to make them entertaining and funny and scary and full of adventure and life. But I feel like when I go into schools and talk to kids, I realise that trying to get kids to read is a big deal, and so I kind of think it's fun to have books that are just there to entertain and get kids to read. And then when they're reading, once they've been reading my books, maybe they want to move on to things that are, might be considered sort of intellectual or literary in some way, and that's great. But I feel like you've got to start your reading journey. And also, even though I like to watch, Truffaut films and Fellini films and all kinds of things, but I also really like watching Anchorman. So, sometimes you're in the mood for, something intellectual, and sometimes you're in the mood for something that is just going to make you laugh, entertain you. So I kind of think, I'm not sure if you just you go, oh, well, my child's now reading, this book that's considered literature, and then they're never going to read something fun again. Then I'm in the mood quiet to watch something, read something. Yeah. It's like we are. I mean, you read sort of silly books, and you read History of the Third Reich, and it's just, that's, you were in the mood for something else, weren't you? You can't just heavy book.
Can't start with Dostoevsky. You got to give yourself a little bit of asterisk.
No, that's it. You're going to turn off. I mean, the thing is, I think you just got to be mindful that you can turn off kids forever to books, to reading, to Shakespeare, whatever it is, if it seems boring to them. And so I did have great teachers at school who, inspired us to Shakespeare, but there was one or two whose approaches weren't quite as powerful and persuasive as the others. And I'd look around and I'd see the boys in my class rolling their eyes, looking bored. And I thought, the sort of shame of this is, looking back, is that these kids, their worst nightmare would be being taken to see Shakespeare play on stage. Literally the number one thing they would never want to do in their life. And I just think probably they didn't have an exciting enough introduction to it, and it was just like a chore to them to have to, for them to have to study it, and so it's sort of, for them, it drained the life out of them. So I think I think to entertain people does have a big value, and I always think what I'm trying to do is like sugarcoat the pill, in that I'm writing something, like The Boy in the Dress, where it's like it does deal with an issue that's quite interesting and serious, and which is about a boy dressing as a girl and going to school. But at the same time, it does have some fun in it. It does have some laughter in it. It does have some over-the-top characters. It's not just an issue. It's a story where this issue emerges from the story. And so I think that's kind of how, that's a good way of approaching writing for anybody, but especially children, to be trying to deal with something kind of serious and interesting, but at the same time, making sure it's still entertaining. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere.
Is it difficult to write these books, and what's the process? I mean, is there quite a lot of to and fro with editing, or is it actually for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work in editing. I mean, the edits, you work with an editor, and then first of all, you get the big notes to do with story or character or whatever, themes, those kind of things, and then the notes get smaller and smaller each time, and then they just become about grammatical errors and things like that. But I love doing it. I think getting started on a new story is hard, because you think, you're looking at a mountain going, I've got to climb it, because you haven't got anything yet, and you don't really know. You plan things, the characters are, what the story is, but you haven't put it into action yet. You don't know it's necessarily going to work, and so at first it's like a chore, which is why a lot of people prevaricate. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, I'd love to write a book," but they've never started one, and I kind of get that, because it's intimidating to start a book. But at the same time, you just have to start, otherwise that book will never get written. But I plan out the story. I make lots of notes. I've just written a murder mystery for kids, and I had to plan that out in immense detail. because I had to know the plot was going to work, because, you know, a plot like that has twists and turns and a secret, you know, the murderer has got to, you know, you just got to create a very intricate story, like a House of Cards, where, you know, we're surprised about what happened, but it still makes sense afterwards. So yeah, I planned that in huge detail, and it was about half the length. The plan was about half the length of the actual book. You know what I mean? It was like a 10,000 word treatment, and I wanted to make sure that was completely right. So I counselled my book editor, and he said, can you see any holes in this? Because I don't want to write this and realise the whole thing's been a massive mistake.
Well, it makes you appreciate Agatha Christie, right? I mean, you really think
amazing. I mean, properly brilliant twist. I mean, when I watched Murder on the Orient Express when I was a kid, the Sidney Lumet version, like Sean Connery and Anthony Perkins and everyone in it, I was like absolutely bamboozled by it. I thought it was incredible. So yeah, I do respect her, and also the fact that she didn't just write one. She wrote, like, I don't know, it was something like nearly 100 books or something, and you go, wow. Yep. So you had 100 great ideas, plots, and you had all these twists, and it's incredible, extraordinary. So yes, I did have. I mean, I always respected her, but I had more respect. So I thought, blimey, this is hard work, and also she used to do a couple a year. And also, I kind of think about the way people had to write in the past, where they didn't have computers. So, you know, I mean, I think about Shakespeare with this quill.
You imagine?
I mean, you wouldn't be a lot of rewriting, and then Agatha Christie's just typing away. And you think, it's much harder, I think, than on a computer, where you've got so much more. It's so easy to cut and paste and change things.
Change a word or something. I mean, she'd have to throw away the whole page.
Yes. So I'm really glad I don't have to type, because I mean, I actually saw the manuscript for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. His own manuscript is at the Roald Dahl Museum in Great Missenden, where he lived, and he at the last minute changed. He changed. The Oompa Loompas were originally called Whipple Scrumpets, and just at the last minute, he must have had a better idea. But he had to go through the whole of the manuscript, cross out Whipple Scrumpets each time. Actually, I mentioned, and like, you know, little arrow Oompa Loompas. So that now would take me like 10 seconds, you know, find and replace. But then it probably took him like a good hour or so to go through it. So it's quite interesting, the different, you know, the techniques. It just makes me think how difficult it must have been. And also, it's quite interesting to think about, like Dickens. He was writing these chapters would come out in kind of weekly or monthly publications.
In the newspaper, yeah.
Yeah, and so you know, I'm not sure he always necessarily had. You know, he probably was publishing these as he went along. So it's quite an interesting way to write without, you know, having finished the whole thing and then putting it out there. It's just interesting to me.
And I wonder with people like Arthur Conan Doyle, because they used to also write these periodic these little inserts in the newspaper or whatever. And I often wonder if they had the plan at the very start, as you had to.
They must have done with like murder mysteries, because again, with Sherlock Holmes, there's brilliant twists. I think if he had no idea what the twist could be, he might get himself into some trouble.
Imagine going and having a drink and being hungover and forgetting what the twist was.
Yeah, I know. It would be awful, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm just guessing, but I mean, I sort of imagine that would be the most sensible way to go about it. Otherwise, you're just going to waste. That's the main thing. I planned it out because I thought I don't want this whole thing to be a colossal waste of time for me to get to the end and go, oh, this whole thing doesn't work, because I haven't thought of something.
Well, I'm excited to read it, but I'm also excited that you're coming to South Africa. Is it your first time here?
It is not my first time. I went to Johannesburg. Actually, it was about 12 years ago. And me and Lara, who became my wife, we were invited by Elton John to go on a safari. So
Okay.
he invited like about 20 friends, and we took over this resort, and we all went out on the game drives and have dinners in the evening, and then we go into like local villages, and
Wonderful.
yeah, it was wonderful. And it's just funny to be on a safari with Elton John.
Were people
I
looking
remember
at
there was something really funny when he was being shown a bird. He went, "We've got birds in England. Show me something big." This is quite funny. And you quite often remember that. I thought it was quite funny. I was thinking, I don't really want to see a bird. I want to see an elephant, please, because we don't have those. But no, it's a great country, and I'm really excited to be coming back. And I've just actually been in Spain. Doing events out there. And the most mind-blowing thing is when I go to a country where I haven't, done book events and things like that before. It's just meeting people who are kind of fans of you that you just didn't really know existed, And some of these kids in Spain got quite emotional about meeting me, and I was like, really? I mean, this is amazing. And it's a very thrilling. It's probably even more pleasurable for me to meet them than they might have meeting me, because it's just such a thrill to think your stories mean so much to people.
and I mean, 55 languages across the globe. That's quite cool too. I mean,
I couldn't name 55 languages. I don't think many people could they? Unless they were like, I don't know, professors of language or something. I only know 2, and no, I mean it's amazing, because it's also interesting that the sort of cultural differences don't seem to get in the way. Like someone told me that like Gangsta Granny had sold like a couple of 100,000 copies in China, and it's about stealing the crown jewels from the Tower of London, and it's about the Queen, and it's about Strictly Come Dancing and all this kind of stuff. And it's like all these things that I wouldn't imagine that kids in China are necessarily that familiar with. They're living in very different circumstances, very different system there, and yet the story still captures their imagination. So it's very, very pleasing.
That's fantastic. I have World's Worst Children 3 in front of me, and I can't help thinking that there must be some pushy stage mom somewhere who's almost auditioning their children for you as you pass them on the tube or something, and tries to sort of push them in front of you to be a candidate for the next one. Have you met
what they do is they go, it's your favorite author, look. And they go, who? J.K. Rowling? And they go, no, and then you know your second favorite author. Because kids sometimes know your name and not your face, but it's very sweet. I see kids, come up. Can I just say I really like your books, and it's very, very sweet.
Sweet, that is lovely. And kids are also so honest. If they tell you they like something, they really do.
Well, I think as a grown up, I think about like, oh, this book has just major, has just won the Booker Prize. I really must read it. I don't enjoy it from page 1. Page 901. I'm still reading it, not really knowing what's happening, and then I eventually finish it and go, why did I read it? I wasn't enjoying it, but I read it because I thought it was, I'd heard it was amazing, but I just didn't get it. Whereas I think kids, they don't like something, they'd immediately stop. They're not going to waste their time on something they really don't like, unless they're forced to, and so. Yeah, it's great. I almost think you have to grab their imagination very quickly. You need to make sure that every end of every chapter there's a real hook for them to keep reading. And you really need to entertain them. You can't lose them. You can't lose their focus, because if you do that, they're just going to give up. And then that's, I don't know, that you don't want the idea that your books, the kids are giving up on your books. Because if they do, they'll never read another one.
Well, you are doing God's work then, my friend, and long may it continue.
I don't think it's ever been called God's work, but I'm trying my best.
I think making children imagine is truly bringing magic back into the world. And whether it's you or J.K. Rowling or Roald Dahl, and bless you for it. I mean, I don't have children, but I've got 2 nephews who love your stuff. And I mentioned at the start of this that a friend of mine, who I actually just messaged before the interview and said, interviewing David Walliams, and she said, "Oh my God, she's got 5 children, the poor woman." And she said all of her 5 children have grown up on a diet of your books, and they only have Billionaire. Which one is it?
Billionaire Boy.
Billionaire Boy. And I said to them, "Well, fine, I'll bring you another 2 or 3," and she's just delighted. So you are spreading you're spreading all kinds of good, and keep children reading. I think it's just marvelous. Looking forward to having you in South Africa, David, and thank you for your time today.